A few weeks ago, I received something very special in the mail. Now, with work being crazy, I've been opening more emails than I have been opening packages of late. While I can't show you what was in my emails, I can show you what was in the package. Castrol sent me a whole bunch of goodies. A bamboo cup for my hot beverages, keychains, stickers and t-shirts, a handy flexible torch. This should come in handy when I'm working on my motorcycle. A framed picture of me with Cal Crutchlow's MotoGP LCR Honda. And last but definitely not least, 2 cans of the all-new, fully synthetic Castrol Power One Ultimate Oil. I've been using Castrol's engine oil on my motorcycle for a while now, and I've noticed a considerable difference in the way Rage has been performing. This engine oil builds from that with its 5-in-1 formula that provides excellent acceleration, excellent engine wear protection, a smoother ride, consistent performance between oil change intervals, and finally something that you all know I'm crazy about, it manages engine heat well. All this for the price of just 744 rupees a litre. The link in the description should help you pick the right oil for your two-wheeler. That's right, I said two-wheeler. The Ultimate range is meant for both motorcycles and for scooters. I'm going to be sharing my review of the Castrol Power One Ultimate 15W50 oil once I've had the opportunity to clock enough kilometers on my motorcycle with it. But if your motorcycle or scooter for that matter is due for an oil change anytime soon, I definitely recommend trying out the Castrol Power One Ultimate range. There's a whole bunch of vehicles that run on Castrol's oil. In fact, we're going to be riding one of them today. The Triumph Tiger 900 GT. Last time we were here starting our ride, we were heading to Goa on the Adventure 390. This time around, I'm just waiting for Pillion Prime because she forgot her gloves upstairs. She has to climb up quite a few floors to reach there. I don't envy her. Just picked up this bike yesterday itself to review, but I have it for just 4 days and 3 out of those days I'm working. So this is technically the only day I'll get to ride, or the night I'll get to ride. It's Friday night, we're heading out to Lonavala. Let's get this party started. Love the display, love the engine. Alright, first order of business is to meet Sahil Matlani. He's waiting for us at Oberoi Mall. And from there onwards, we're going to meet Brian somewhere in Powai. And then Ankit and his wife at the usual point. We call it Ankit's pissing point because of the fact that a lot of people come there to piss. And Ankit had no idea about it. I think I'll need this motorcycle for a much longer ride to be able to do justice to a review of this bike. Again, I'm only maybe scratching the surface on the capabilities of this motorcycle and some of the functions that come along with it too. But what I thought I'll do is on this ride just probably share a few things that stood out for me during the course of the last 24 hours and my time with it on this ride too. I guess buses are allowed to break signals. Yeah, I think the first thing that really stood out for me on this motorcycle was the sound of the engine. It doesn't have that whistle that Triumph triples are known for having. It sounds more like a twin, there's this grunt to it. Like that. Sounds like a Ducati. It's nice and loud also, so even with the stock exhaust, it still draws a lot of attention and lets other unaware drivers know that you're in their rear view mirror. Didn't take me very long to get adjusted to this motorcycle. I think I was jumping on some speed breakers within half a day of having it. And that's something Sahil told me about the motorcycle too. He got a chance to go for a test ride a few weeks ago. He loved it. Yeah, I usually end up forgetting to show the actual motorcycles that I'm riding when I'm off the motorcycles for vlogs like this. So here you go, Triumph 900 Tiger GT. Being a KTM guy, I love these fans. And they pull a ton of air, dual radiator, so there's 2 fans. Remotely adjustable preload over here, which is a nice touch. And while the tank really looks massive, it isn't that big when you sit on it. That's not what she said. Yeah, now that we're in traffic a bit, one thing that I noticed yesterday and earlier today when I was riding it in traffic again was the motorcycle does tend to heat up quite a bit, and even while it's showing that it's at its halfway point of the heat gauge, it does get really, really hot. And while it has a dual radiator and dual fans also for those radiators, I think the angle at which those fans are placed and then the ducts which are supposed to dissipate the heat away from the rider are kind of facing your knees. And I mean, in riding gear I don't think you'd feel it as much, but in denims, when you're in the city, you definitely feel that. I also like these foot pegs are nice and wide, so it's easy for you to saddle when you're off-roading or even just jumping over stuff in the city. But what I would have liked is if the controls, so the gear shift pedal and the rear brake pedal, were a little longer too, because what ends up happening is then you have to then bend your foot inwards to kind of reach that. Again, I'm not great at off-road riding, I don't have a lot of experience while doing that, but it just seems a little odd the way that's placed. And I was wearing formals on the way to work the other day riding this motorcycle, and it really got hot to the point that I thought my socks were going to burn. So it would be nice if I don't have to touch my ankles to the engine casing every now and then when I'm riding in the city. But because of the width of the controls, I eventually had to. Maybe just me. Maybe just me. Because I haven't heard anyone else talk about that yet, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much of the road you guys can see from this view, but this visor is probably at its highest setting right now, and it's kind of obstructing my view of the road directly in front of me. I can see like further beyond where I should be looking, but when we are stuck in traffic, I think that's when it gets a little tricky. Alright, so the gang's all finally here. There's Sahil Matlani and Brian, who's directly behind us. Oops. Billy and Brian trying to wrestle me as usual while getting on the bike. All is fair in love and war and wrestling and kushti. Yeah, that visor was irritating me a bit, so I've put it now on its lowest setting, and I think I can see a lot more ahead of me now than I could earlier, at least the immediate road ahead of me. Very hard to stay within legal speed limits with this motorcycle. I think its sweet spot starts from somewhere around 75 kilometers per hour, and that's again just the tip of the iceberg. Also, with that visor being as tall as it is and as effective as it is, more importantly, it kind of gives you a false sense of speed, and you feel that you're going a lot slower than you actually are. That, along with how smooth the engine is. Yeah, I don't really like riding at night so much, and there's reasons apart from poor visibility and bad driving sense from people, which I've shared in another video in the past. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, I'll put a card on the top right hand corner of the screen for you to check out. I must warn you though, most people, according to my analytics, can't watch beyond 7 minutes of that. Man, I would have loved to take this all the way to Goa for India Bike Week, but unfortunately this year there's no music festivals or motorcycle festivals happening in Goa. I think that's a smart move though, considering how the pandemic has shaped up for our country, and especially how things are going in Goa.
A few moments later.
Yeah, I think this will be a good place to show you the lights on this motorcycle. It's like the bat signal. Check this out. High beam has that kind of a focus. I don't know if it's going to show you through the GoPro, but it's like I'm asking Batman to show up. And then low beam's also pretty awesome. Now, I was joking with someone in the comment section of a recent Instagram post that I put up about this motorcycle, that it has heated grips in a city like Mumbai. But right now I've switched on the heated grips and I'm really loving it, because it's 19 degrees, at least it was 19 degrees back there, and those heated grips are really coming in handy right now. I think it handles really well, especially with how long the wheelbase on this motorcycle is. It isn't that sluggish when you compare it to some of the other adventure bikes that I've had a chance to ride. And I'm riding 2 up also right now. I think that new frame which they've built, and the subframe also they're using with this motorcycle, really lets you dial in most of the cornering abilities on this motorcycle too. And I know Triumph has put a lot of thought into this motorcycle to make it a great off-roader, but I don't think we should take away from the fact that it handles as well as it does in a set of twisties like this. Yep, so Sahil and Brian fueled up their motorcycles here at Lonavala. We are now riding back and going to stop just next to Duke's Retreat, I believe is the name of that hotel. I've also made an adjustment to the seat height. I've increased it to the second setting, which involves just pulling on these two tabs and kind of increasing the height ever so little. But it does make a big difference. If you are a taller rider, I'd recommend you do that, because otherwise you end up sitting really deep in the seat, and then there's some weird pain in the thighs that I was experiencing because I was sitting so low in the seat. The tires on this also really work well for road use. I don't know how well they perform off-road. Maybe you need something a little more serious for off-road riding, but on the street and on the highway they've performed exceptionally well. That clubbed with the brakes and the suspension make this motorcycle a really good handling bike. On our way back to Mumbai now, it is 2:50 in the morning and still 19.5 degrees, so really cold. I've got the grips on their lowest heat setting, but they're still on nevertheless, just to keep some heat through my palms. This thing has been a real blast to ride on the highway tonight. It has been engaging, it has been comfortable, and I think most of all it's surprised me quite a bit with the electronic aids that come along with it. Something I never thought I'll use in Mumbai. The heated grips have come in handy. Gotta get up early in the morning at about 8:30, so not gonna get a lot of sleep tonight, and get to work on a Saturday morning. Yeah, such is life. I guess it's part of the sacrifices I'll have to make to ride motorcycles, continue to the YouTube channel, and also meet my friends like this over the weekend. Alright, that's pretty much all I had for today. Thank you again so much for joining us for the ride. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you did not, please do share feedback. As always, at least wear your helmets while riding your motorcycles and ride safe. It's a freaking jungle out there. Get a wild animal like this out every now and then. Goodbye. Don't I? You look at, I'm trying to. Let me sit on the bike properly. Sure, sit. I'll hold it. No, just in case. I don't have complete confidence. Huh. Now put it on me. What? Your feet don't reach? Hey, don't do anything, huh? Chal, get up. Enough. It's on side stand, yeah, nothing will happen. What do you mean you can't get down? Rider. But then you have to do this and get on that way. You have to go. You can do it on that side stand.
Stand on that and go.
Yeah, you can do that also. Yeah, go. How you get on otherwise?
That's even worse.
Yeah, that's even easier. That's even easier.
Net boss with a great bag. Came up, you can't hate that. Self-made, you can't take that. Yeah, self-made, you can't make that. Some said I need a record deal, I need a co-sign, I need a Dre track. But all the time I had a mean flow, I had a cold grind, and that's a great match.